The Earth feels different lately. Weather's wild, oceans are warming, glaciers are melting, fast. But the cause might not be what we've been told. While we argue over emissions and policy, the planet is whispering something deeper. It's not screaming, not yet, but it's shifting, and we're not listening. The Earth is protected by an invisible force, an electromagnetic shield generated by its molten core. It deflects solar radiation, guides migrations, and stabilizes everything from compasses to climate. But that shield is weakening. Over the past 2 centuries, Earth's magnetic field has lost more than 20% of its strength. And magnetic north? It's no longer crawling, it's racing, pulling away from Canada towards Siberia. Some call it a geomagnetic excursion. Others think we may be witnessing the beginning of a full magnetic reversal. The last time that happened, about 780,000 years ago. Humanity didn't have satellites, GPS, or power grids to worry about. But here's the thing. A geomagnetic shift isn't just about compass readings. It could mean our core is destabilizing. And if what we're seeing isn't just magnetic, but mechanical, then we're already past the warning phase. We've been told climate change is coming from above, greenhouse gases, burning oil, and carbon footprints. But what if the heat is coming from below? Antarctica is melting from the bottom up. Glaciers aren't just disappearing under the sun, they're being cooked by geothermal activity far beneath the ice. Across the ocean floor, volcanic ridges are growing hotter. Massive undersea eruptions, like Tonga in 2022, remind us that Earth's energy doesn't sleep. In the deep mantle at the D double prime boundary, pressure builds, heat escapes, the crust above begins to flex. And yet, no one talks about it. Because if Earth is heating itself, the narrative collapses, and the questions get uncomfortable. The Earth doesn't spin perfectly, it wobbles. That wobble, called the Chandler wobble, has always been there, but now it's accelerating. In just a few decades, Earth's axis has shifted several meters. Some say it's from melting ice, but what if the crust is starting to slip? Not slide like a glacier, shift like a loose shell. Earth's day length is changing too, by milliseconds. It sounds small, but it's measurable, and it points to instability. In ancient records, civilizations reported changes in the stars, in the sky's motion, in seasons that no longer lined up. Maybe they weren't confused. Maybe they lived through it once already. The planet is rumbling, the compass is drifting, the heat is rising, the crust is whispering. But all we talk about is carbon. Ancient cultures left warnings, in stories, in stone, in myth, tales of great floods, long nights, a sky that spun and fell. We dismiss them, just as we now dismiss modern researchers who warn of core instability and crustal shifts. Because if they're right, then everything we're doing is irrelevant, and that's too terrifying to face. But the planet doesn't care about fear, it only moves when it must. And the Tau point is real. If the crust breaks free from the core, it won't come with a warning label. It will come like it has before, sudden, violent, absolute. And when it does, we won't be ready. History isn't linear. It's not a steady climb, not a march from ignorance to enlightenment. It's a cycle, one of rise and collapse. We've been here before, and we've left the evidence behind. We're told that civilization began around 5,000 years ago, that nothing advanced came before, that the timeline is settled. But the ruins say otherwise. Göbekli Tepe, built 12,000 years ago, before writing, before the wheel, carved with precision, aligned with the stars, and buried on purpose. Across the globe, lost cities, ancient megaliths, submerged coastlines, Doggerland, Sunderland, Beringia, all above sea level before the last great melt, and then gone. Myths of Atlantis, Zep-Tepi, the first time, Mu, Shambhala, Hyperborea, Lemuria, Agartha. We call them legend. But what if they're memory? What kind of event wipes the slate that clean? Something massive, something global, something Earth-driven. Maybe those ruins aren't beginnings, maybe they're endings. History survives through memory, through writing, through story, but memory fades and stories burn. The Library of Alexandria, Mayan codices, Sumerian tablets, gone. But the forgetting goes deeper. Archaeology reveals timelines that don't add up, advanced tools without context, civilizations with no lead-in, star maps carved by people who shouldn't have known the sky that well. We dismiss it all as coincidence, misdating, anomalies, because the alternative is uncomfortable, that we're not the pinnacle, we're just the latest version. Indigenous oral traditions speak of sky fires, floods, long darkness. Cultures separated by oceans tell the same stories. We call them myths. But what if myth is the last thing to survive a cataclysm? We didn't build the world from scratch. We built it on top of the forgotten. Civilizations don't drift into the past, they crash. And the pattern is predictable. Rapid growth, centralized power, distraction, decay, collapse. Rome, the Maya, the Khmer Empire, all followed the cycle. So are we. But there's one difference this time. Back then, collapse was cultural. Now, it could be planetary. What happens when the core shifts? When the crust breaks? When the oceans move and the sky tilts? That's not the fall of a city. It's the end of an age. We're not just repeating history, we're walking straight into it. The signs are subtle until they're not. Pole drift, seafloor heating, glacial melt from below, the axis wobbling just a little more each year. We ignore it because it doesn't fit the narrative, because it can't be taxed, fixed, or reversed. But the Earth isn't asking for permission. The last time the reset came, it left behind shattered cultures, buried cities, and half-remembered warnings. This time, we won't be writing in stone. We'll be gone in the cloud. Collapse doesn't wait. It arrives, and when it does, it's already too late to prepare. The question isn't if, it's when. The last reset erased the world. The next one may do the same.